of sight. Thank you for the opportunity to reappear, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much for those opening comments. We will now begin with our 6-minute rounds, starting with Mr. Cooper, up to 6 minutes. Comments through the chair, and I would ask that no two people be speaking at the same time. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll direct my question to Mr. King or whichever official is in the best position to answer. What is the highest security classification level of information that will be provided to this committee during the first hour?
We'll only be able to discuss unclassified information in this setting today.
And so that would also be in the case of the second hour?
Yes, Madam Chair, apologies. We will only be able to discuss unclassified information in this particular setting today, both sessions.
So there's no material difference with respect to the security level of information that would be offered in the first hour versus the second hour?
That is correct. I can confirm that there will be no difference in the level of classification at which we will discuss from the open session to the in-camera session.
Okay. And given that there is no material difference, it seems to me that it is entirely unnecessary to go in camera, especially having regard for the advice that CSIS has provided, including laid out in a February 2021 memo to the Prime Minister, that issues of foreign interference be grounded in a policy of sunlight and transparency. And therefore, I move that the second hour remain in public.
So, Mr. Cooper, I think what's suitable for the purposes of this committee, and I will welcome comment, so we'll go through, if we're paused the clock on his time, please. I think what we can do is, I would love a signal from others as to what would be best. I think the level of conversation in an in-camera setting is different than in an in-public conversation. We have, as a committee, up until now, been able to find and chart a path forward, which I regard and respect. So I think what we should do is, you should use your 6 minutes, and I will gauge the audience. Mr. Turnbull wants in, and we can then sort out what the best way to proceed is. But I think it is taken in good faith. Mr. Turnbull?
Yeah, I have no problem with what Mr. Cooper's suggesting. I would just ask that he didn't ask all the witnesses that question.
It's a task force.
So I just wonder whether there's any others that would reply differently to that question.
I understand that the appearance today by witnesses is through the site task force, and Mr. King is speaking on behalf of the task force. Therefore, the answer would remain the same. I would take a nodding of heads if it's not the case. Seems consistent. So, Mr. Cooper, why don't we proceed with your 6 minutes? I'll get a gauge of the room, and then we'll get back to this.
Well, but we have a motion on the floor. I don't think there's any objection. It appears we might have reached unanimous consent on this.
J'aurais aimé réfléchir. 2 minutes, juste pour les comptes.
2 minutes to have a for and against.
So I think you're right that we can get there. Is it okay that one member gets a couple minutes to reflect and we continue with your time to proceed with maximum time? I think we can definitely get to the bottom of this. So can we proceed with our questions, and we'll get that sorted to you before the 6 minutes is over?
So I don't want to belabor this, Madam Chair, but there will be a vote on the motion upon the conclusion of my 6-minute round.
I actually think we can get consensus that we don't even need a vote, and therefore that's what I would like to proceed with.
That's fair enough.
So can I return you your 6 minutes, and I will get a good gauge, and by the end of your time, your 5 minutes, your 4 minutes that are now remaining, I will have you an answer. Is that suitable, Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, that's very good, Madam
I
Chair.
appreciate your collaboration here.
Okay.
Back to you, Mr. Cooper, through the chair.
Okay. Ms. Ducharme, can you confirm that there are ongoing RCMP criminal investigations respecting foreign interference arising from the 2019 and 2021 elections?
Thank you for the question. Madam Chair, I can confirm that there were no criminal investigations into the 2019 elections, as per Commissioner Lucky's letter to this committee dated 28th of November 2022. That being said, there are active investigations into foreign actor interference activities at any given time, multiple investigations. With respect to the 2021 elections, I am unable to respond whether there are active investigations into the election at this time. Thank you for your question.
So there are active criminal investigations pertaining to interference in the electoral process. Is that correct?
I am unable to respond whether there are investigations, Madam Chair, into foreign election issues, into federal election issues. I am able to confirm that there are active investigations into foreign interference activities.
Okay, thank you for that. I think probably Mr. King, given that you're the chair of, or were chair of the site task force, we know that in September 21, that the site task force was monitoring interference targeting MP Kenny Chu, which was released months later. The problem is that that information was not passed on to Kenny Chu at the time. That information, he was kept in the dark. It didn't come to light until the election was already over. And so, from the standpoint of combating foreign interference, why was MP Kenny Chu kept in the dark?
Thank you for your question. Madam Chair, I'd only say, in general, as we identify through our methods what may appear to be foreign interference, we need to go through a process of evaluation before we can take actions. What we can do, and what we did do with the information that we had available to us, was inform, as was our remit, the critical election incident protocol. And that was done through regular engagements, briefings, daily reports. So there's a distinction between observing and needing to analyze to understand.
I just want to cut you off, and I want to give you as much time as to answer the question, but you did make reference to the critical election incident public protocol, which is set out in a cabinet directive, and it provides, with respect to informing a candidate who is the target of interference, that a candidate or political party be informed. So surely that would mean informed as expeditiously as possible, wouldn't it?
Madam Chair, I would just simply restate that it's not a decision of the site task force to engage in that. That is a decision made by that critical election incident public protocol. It's in their remit to make that decision, make that call. We provide the information that we have to them so that they can make an informed decision.
Thank you. So just so everyone knows, we're all on the same page, with a nodding of heads, I will get agreement that the 2 hours will now be in public. You see that, Mr. Cooper? Magic. I know, it's a good committee to be on.